Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Josephine and on this channel we talk about all things fragranced. A while ago, Stephen from REDOLESSENCE was here in London in the UK and met up with a few UK reviewers to introduce us to his new brand called Navitus. We filmed a few videos together and I also had him on my channel to kind of interview him and give us insight into his brand as well as discovering his fragrances. Now Stephen is a really lovely person and super humble, especially given his success. It was such a pleasure to have him on my channel and I was really honored to be on his channel as well. So I'll link down the two videos that we filmed on his channel so you can check those out. He kindly gifted me with a discovery set, so I've had a chance to really try and test his fragrances in different settings, environments, even the weather. And let me tell you, I really enjoy his fragrances. I think they're wonderful quality. So my opinions in the video that we filmed previously hasn't changed. If not, I've fallen even more in love for his fragrances and I ended up purchasing with my own money before anyone says I have been sponsored by him. No, absolutely not. I purchased with my own money one of his fragrances, Navitus, which was one of my favorites in the video that we filmed. And I stand behind this brand and especially this fragrance, which I very much enjoy. So if you're interested in seeing an interview with Stephen and discovering a bit more about his brand, Navitus, then please keep watching. Today I have another really exciting collaboration. I have this gentleman on my channel. I don't think he needs much of an introduction, but this is Stephen. From REDOLESSENCE.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, so thank you so much for coming onto my channel.
Oh no, the pleasure is all mine, of course.
Oh, this is so wonderful. He's in London for just a day.
Yeah.
And you're basically back to back to back and just filming a ton of videos. So I'm really grateful for you to come onto my channel. Today, actually, we're going to be talking about Stephen's brand that launched a couple months ago.
Yeah, it was actually back in November of 2019.
This is so exciting. So essentially we're going to talk a little bit about his brand, get to know, I guess, a bit behind the scenes and how you all started and kind of walk me through your fragrances and we can smell them together. If you're interested in seeing and learning a bit more about Stephen's brand, which is called Navitus, then please keep watching. Okay, so let's begin with this new brand of yours. What got you inspired by creating this brand? What does Navitus mean? Give us a little introduction into how you started this project of yours.
Of course, yes. So I didn't always want to have my own brand. It wasn't one of these things where I created a YouTube channel and I said to myself, yep, down the line, I'm going to have my own brand. It's kind of one of these things that happened haphazardly. So I was, slowly doing my thing and growing on YouTube. And about a year and 9 months ago, I was approached by an investor. And this person had never invested in fragrances before. He's invested in tourism, he's invested in real estate, but he wanted to venture into the fragrance world. And this is something that obviously I'm very passionate about and something that I've been doing since I was 10 years old, collecting fragrances and wearing them and admiring them and appreciating them. And so when I saw the opportunity and I knew that I was able to take this creative director approach and pretty much do everything for the brand, come up with the name, come up with the concept, shortlist the logo and the color of the bottles and the way that the fragrances smell and all that other fun stuff, I said I would love to do that. And I saw that there was zero financial risk involved. I didn't have to front any money and this is a very costly endeavor, as one could imagine. And so everything since then has been nothing short of a pleasure to be on this journey and to visit all of these places around the world and meet these perfumers and have a chance to work with them directly has been absolutely amazing.
That sounds amazing. I feel like you're in a really unique position where basically you can have complete fun with your project without having to deal with, all the back end and like the problems. I don't know if you do, but the whole creative side behind the brand is basically the fun part, isn't it? It
is the fun part. I don't have to worry about like the insurance and all this other legal mumbo jumbo. I can just focus on the creative aspect. Of course, it is still work, having to visit the different, boutiques, with which I'm, having communications regarding the brand, the fulfillment center in Long Island City, all these other things. And, there is a lot of work involved, of course, but it's nice to be able to sort of detach myself from the more legal issues of the brand and to just sort of focus on the more creative aspects of the brand. And I think that that's ultimately what's going to create a product that's going to resonate with people, as opposed to just sort of taking this cookie cutter approach, or, you know, saying, well, let's put a product out there. The bottle doesn't matter, the name doesn't matter, let's just focus on the juice. You know, a lot of people don't think that, you know, it's the entire picture and it's the entire presentation that really speaks to consumers. And so it's been a lot of fun for me.
And it honestly, it looks beautiful. This is the first time that I'm seeing these fragrances, and I did smell them before for a few videos. Yeah. And it's just wonderful. And also, like, when you were telling me the story behind the name, it's really a project of love, isn't it? And there's so much meaning behind everything within this brand, the fragrance, the name, everything. So do you mind giving a little bit of information?
I would love to, yes, of course. And you asked me this question already, and I neglected to answer it, so I do apologize for that.
It's fine.
So the name Navitus Parfum, or Navitus, it is a Latin word, and it has a few different meanings. And when I was kind of looking up different names and different words that I could assign to the brand, this is the one that resonated with me the most, just because I felt like this duality of meaning behind the name was applied to various aspects of the perfumes. And so Navitus means energy, and fragrance is always one of these things that gives me mental energy, but also physical energy. You know, it's kind of the equivalent of wearing like a nice tie, or getting a fresh haircut, or freshly getting out of the shower. You feel like this surge of energy, like I can tackle anything that my day throws at me. And fragrance almost has that effect for me. You know, you spray it on and it transforms your energy. Navitus also means passion, and the people who are into niche fragrances are so because they're passionate about smells. But the name Navitus also has roots in the word nauta, which means mariner or voyager. And it does kind of take you on this sort of liquid journey where it transforms from the beginning to the middle to the end. And all of these fragrances are named after different things that are being symbolized by the infinity symbol. And I chose to go with an infinity symbol because I consider fragrances to be infinite or immortal, especially in the way that they ingrain themselves in our memory with the limbic system. And the number one connection, or the number one sense that is connected to memory, is your sense of smell. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing because, yeah, you can watch a movie that you haven't seen for 2 or 3 years, and you can say, man, I was pretty sure that this scene played out like this. But it's like not how you remembered it. But if you smell something that you haven't smelled in 20 years, it brings back all of these memories that have been suppressed. And you're like, I thought that this was completely erased from my memory bank. And so I think for me personally, that's always one thing that I had a fascination for when it comes to fragrances.
That is, I mean, the meaning, like I said earlier, behind this is beautiful. And it's really what fragrance is all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
I loved hearing this story.
Thank you.
And yeah, do you want to just talk a bit about the range, how many fragrances you have, what these fragrances are, the inspiration?
Sure, of course, I would love that. So I was, like I said earlier, I was inspired by different things that are being symbolized by the infinity symbol, but I also wanted to do it in a way that was both creative and easy to digest for the consumer. So if you think of a name like Intimus, you're going to think intimate, right? So it's something that is a little bit on the sweet side, something that is very romantic, sensual. If you're going out on a date night, this is the ideal type of fragrance that you can wear for that occasion.
So this is it, right?
Yes, that is it.
It's a beautiful purple bottle.
Thank you.
And it feels like very expensive and luxurious.
It's about 800 grams, so almost 2 pounds. Yeah, it's quite a heavy bottle.
Oh gosh. Imagine taking these, well, you are taking these on trips and even on holiday. You need to pack light. This is super heavy, really luxurious. The cap is even faceted, right? You gotta know.
So each one of these individual squares is at a different angle. So the way that it sort of reflects and refracts light is really interesting.
It's beautiful. From what we can see here, each of these bottles have a different color too, right?
Yeah.
So I'll let you, sorry, I interrupted you. I'm getting excited.
So, I mean, ever since I was young, I always experienced synesthesia. And so synesthesia is, for those who don't know at home, it's when different parts of your brain communicate with one another when they normally shouldn't. And so some senses overlap. And so there are people out there that have like color number synesthesia, color letter synesthesia. So they'll think of a certain letter and a color comes to their mind, or maybe they'll see like a different shape. And that's kind of always how it's been with me when it comes to fragrances. And so like I'll smell something and I'll say, oh, this smells purple, or oh, this smells blue. And maybe it's inherently because some of the ingredients contained in there are, you know, ingredients that have that color, you know, whatever. So if you think of something like, let's see, I'm trying to think of a good example. So maybe Virtus, right? So that's in a brown bottle, but it also contains tobacco, and a tobacco leaf can be brown in color. And so, you know, it would make sense to make that brown. But then when you take a look at something like Absolutio, it's a red bottle, but that's because when I smelled it, I smelled cherry. And it's not listed as a note, but there's like an almond ingredient which can kind of give off like a cherry vibe. And so for that one, I said it has to be in a red bottle because I'm seeing red when I smell this. And so I kind of did that with every single fragrance. I'll be honest with you though, for Navitus, I wanted to put this in a green bottle, but when we got it back from the factory, it didn't look very nice. And I said, you know what, we're just going to put it in a blue bottle. It's still kind of a blue fragrance in the sense that it's very fresh and bright, and so that's that.
That's really cool. Do you also make the connection between, for example, scent and music, or is it really for you like the synesthesia part? Is it really the link with color, or like do you also get other senses that get into the mix?
It's mostly color. When it comes to music, if I hear like a minor chord, a major chord, a seventh chord, an augmented chord, I know it's that, and it kind of like strikes a different emotion in me. Kind of hard to explain. But I don't get it as much with music as I do with fragrance. And so it's always been one of these things where if I smell something, you know, it's a synesthesia that allows me to make a connection with another fragrance. And it's like, oh yeah, I see, I imagine a similar olfactory texture with this fragrance or that fragrance. And so when I do a side-by-side, I'm like, oh yeah, they are quite close. And so it kind of gives me like this internal validation, but it's mostly with color and texture, not so much with shapes. I know Frederick Mall has the new, I think it was like a limited edition presentation, which was inspired by synesthesia. And I think it's really cool, and that's actually how a lot of people see it in their minds. But it's mostly with color.
Yeah. So do you want to then take me through the inspiration behind each of the fragrances? We can smell
let's see
them,
that.
And
of course, yeah. So maybe we'll just pluck them off this device that we have here, and we'll just kind of talk about them at random.
Okay.
So coincidentally, this one is Navitus, which is the first one. And so Navitus means energy. So I wanted something very bright, refreshing, energetic, something that could make you feel like, okay, I can tackle this day. And for each one of these fragrances, I've also associated a different Latin quote. And so this has probably one of the most memorable Latin quotes, which is Carpe Diem, and it means seize the day. And so whenever I think of this one, I think of seize the day. And here it is. Now it is in the dry down. We sprayed it like 20 minutes ago or something.
I also sprayed it on myself because this is a personal favorite.
You smell amazing.
Oh, thank you. Right back at you.
Thank you.
This is, it's really beautiful. It's very fresh. It reminds me a bit of gin and tonic. Because you're saying it has a juniper.
There's juniper.
There.
Yeah. Sure.
It's just really versatile as well. So I love this.
Oh, thank you. All right, so that's the first one. And the next one, let's see if they're in order.
Wait, hold on. Sorry.
Sure.
I forgot to even show you the bottle. This is a beautiful blue bottle. And actually, so there's some text on either side of the bottle.
Yes.
Would you like to say a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I also selected 3 adjectives, which to me described what the fragrance is about, but also making it a little bit easy for consumers. Like if you're in a store and you just pick it up, you want some general guidelines as to what to expect. And so this one, it says invigorating on the back because I personally find it to be so. And it's also an exclusive to Oswald, which is a boutique in New York City. I know they have a location in Zurich as well, but this one is only currently available at Oswald. And so thank you to them for partnering up with me. I really appreciate that. Okay, so this one is Oud Luxuria, and the 2 small bottles are 50 milliliters in size, but they're the same price as everything else. And that's just because the price per kilo is a lot more expensive than these here. And so, but this does contain Laotian oud, and it has a natural oud blend. This one was made by perfumer Christian Carbonell out of Spain. And I chose the name Oud Luxuria because luxury has roots in the word lust. And so there was this sort of animalic, carnal appeal about it. So it's kind of musky, and you have the ambergris, and it's a little spicy as well.
Yeah, I get a bit of is it cumin in there?
Yeah, there's definitely cumin in
A
there.
little bit of cumin. It's quite beastly and carnal.
Yeah.
It's also, because we sprayed this earlier, now that it's dried down, I find it also very powdery.
Oh, okay, sure.
I'm not going to use the word delicate. The powderiness is delicate, but it's like a beast behind.
Yeah, oh yeah, agree. Completely agree.
I love it, yeah.
Thank you. Let's see, I'm putting myself to the smell test. Okay, so the next one is Primas.
Cute.
I know we're doing it a little bit out of order. And by the way, so there it is, yes. So the Latin quote for this one is Lucea lux vestra, which means let your light shine. And so there's just something very bright and radiant about this one. And for this one, it's semper paratus, which means always prepared. And so I wanted something that, and this one, I mentioned this on camera on a few other videos, I always had this idea of like a phoenix rising from the ashes, because one of the things being represented by the infinity symbol is this concept of reincarnation or self-fertilization. And so when you think about a phoenix rising from the ashes, you have that sort of earthy component, but then you also have the brightness and, you know, the beautiful wings and the vibrant colors. And so I wanted that contrast of something very bright and fresh, but something very dark and earthy.
It's really interesting because, yeah, again, we're smelling them in the dry down, and it's very different, and I enjoy it more so now than I did initially in the first spray.
Yeah.
It's quite earthy and woody and also a little bit musky.
Yeah.
And it's very elegant.
And I know you were saying that you're not typically a fan of patchouli, but this is a patchouli-based scent that you can appreciate.
Yeah, probably one of the only patchouli scents, actually,
oh my
that
God.
I can appreciate.
That's a huge compliment. I'll take it. Thank you. Okay, so the next one is Virtus, which means strength. And the Latin quote that I attached to this one is Veni Vidi Vici. And in my video, I know you mentioned that it's a bit of like a, kind of like a pseudo gourmand fragrance, right? It has some edible ingredients in there. And it certainly does have fig milk, green mango. It kind of gives me like a coconut smell. And it also has honey and beeswax absolute.
Reminds me a little bit of Herod.
Ah, okay. I can see that.
Which I adore.
Oh, nice.
From Bath on the Money. I don't wear it very often. I haven't worked with it a little bit, but I'm getting a little bit of a Herod.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, perhaps the tobacco in there.
Yeah, and that sweet edible feel as well. This is so good.
Oh, awesome. I'm really glad you like that one.
Oh, yummy.
Okay, so this one is called Absolutio, and this one has caramel, toffee, chocolate, apple, saffron, ambergris.
So this is the beautiful red bottle, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that one. I really do.
It's very addictive, and it literally has all of my favorite notes in there.
And also a little bit of almond. I forgot to mention that there's almond in there as well. Yeah, it's one of my favorite ingredients. That and heliotrope, right? Because there's like a similarity between the two, and so I love that ingredient so much. Okay, so that's one of the new releases. I don't know if you want to talk about the March releases.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, please.
So I don't have an official bottle because it doesn't come out until next month. But this one is called Arcanum, and this means mysterious. And so, yeah, this is one of the upcoming releases, also made by Jorge Lee, who made Primas. And this one has coconut, cinnamon, benzoin.
This is the one I preferred, right?
Yeah, so that was your favorite of the three.
Oh, this is so nice. You know what? My mom actually used to have a fragrance many years ago, and I don't even know the name of it. It was beautiful. It was like in the shape of a heart. It was gold, and it smelled very like opulent and expensive. And I remember she would save it because she was like, I don't have any more, and I don't know where to find it. And I think it's discontinued. And this has a bit of a hint of it, and I'm so excited. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
So wait, when is it available, you said?
So it will be available next month, so in March.
On your website?
On the website initially, yeah.
This is so exciting.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh man, I love your enthusiasm.
I need to contain myself a little bit. I was saying earlier, I keep on smiling. My cheeks are really hurting now.
Oh wow.
This makes
That's
me
a
really
huge
happy.
compliment, so thank you so much for that. Thank you.
We have wonderful fragrances, and congratulations on going for it and launching your own brand.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a big move, but it's something that I'm very proud that I've been able to do, and I feel very blessed to be surrounded by wonderful people such as yourself, so thank you. So this one is by Christian Carbonell, and it's called Opulentus. and I wanted to go with something, so it is a nude-based offering, but the oud note is very disguised, and it's kind of way in the back, receded. It definitely has like this sort of fruity opening. It's a little spicy. It's definitely fresh at the same time. There's something that kind of reminds me of the note of chamomile as well. And so it's really the most complex of the ones that I put my nose on, I think.
Yeah, it's very unique, and the oud is like, I don't get the beastly side of oud in here. It's very smooth, and you know, earlier I was saying I'm not hugely into ouds because I find that for me it's very difficult to pull off.
Yeah.
I'm very jealous of everyone else who can pull it off, but I can't. And I think this is a perfume that I would wear easily, actually, when it comes to oud.
Thank you.
This is lovely.
Yeah, it has more of a supporting role. It's not like the main attraction, but it's weaved in there very nicely, very delicately. I appreciate that one. Let's see what the next one is. So this is also one of the new ones being released in March, and this one is going to be called Navitus, which means chic or elegant. And this is a modern twist on a fujere. And so you're going to have the lavender. There's a little bit of geranium in there as well, but you also have this really nice tonka bean base that kind of adds like this contemporary sweetness.
Yeah, and in the dry down, this sweetness is gorgeous. It's a little bit powdery and almondy, which
Thank
I
you.
love.
Awesome.
This is gorgeous. Like, I'm going to say this about all these fragrances, and this is the first time, well, this is the second time I'm smelling them just today, and this is a completely unbiased view of the fragrances. It's not because we're sitting together that I'm,
Thank you.
you know, praising your perfumes. These fragrances, I truly believe, are wonderful and, you know, really worth discovering.
Can I give you a hug?
Yes, of
That's
course.
amazing. Thank you so much for saying that.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing these wonderful fragrances and spreading it out to the world for everyone to try. Oh, we're back on. Yeah, we just had everyone come in,
a lot
which
of really
is really
cool
cool.
guests.
Yes. So we're going to wrap this up really quickly. We have 2 more fragrances to go through, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
Yes.
let's do this.
Okay, let's try. Okay, so this one is called Intimus. And this is the one where I was going for more of like a date night fragrance.
Yes.
It has some white florals in there. There's a hint of apple. So there's lily, and then there's also vanilla with like a toasted sugar accord as well.
It's beautiful. It's perfect for that date. It's really sexy. Very addictive again.
And the last one, that's the one on your side. And so that one is called Oud Imperium. So Imperium means command. So I wanted a commanding oud, and so the thing with this one is the oud comes across, you're welcome, very loud and clear in the opening, but once you wait until like 15 to 20 minutes into the development, it actually takes a back seat, and all these other ingredients like the apple and the lavender, they really have a chance to shine in the fragrance, and so this one is equally complex.
This is actually, now that we smell a few of them, this is my favorite oud out of your collection.
Really?
It's very elegant and really sophisticated and very, I find it initially in the beginning it is very loud, like you said, but it just, I feel like it would really warm nicely to your skin, and like the sillage must be amazing on this.
Yeah, it performs really well.
It's delightful.
Well, thank you so much for liking them. It's a relief for me because, you know, whenever I introduce the brand to somebody new, it's something that's very personal and intimate for me, you know, because I've worked directly on it for such a long time. And so it's not like I'm looking for validation, but it always warms my heart when somebody smells it and they're like, oh, I really like this one, or it resonates with them. And so thank you for enjoying them. It really means a lot to me.
Thank you so much for, you know, showing these fragrances. And I really enjoyed smelling these. They're beautiful fragrances, and I just can't wait to work with them a little bit more and wear them in different settings. And as a first introduction, this was really cool. Thank you so much for giving us
pleasure, of course.
Insight into your brand and yeah, just immersing us into the world of Navitus.
Thank you for making the trip here.
Well, thank you so much for coming onto this channel.
Of course.
And yes, thank you so much everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below what fragrance you would be intrigued or interested in trying. I would love to hear your thoughts, and we will maybe, I will for sure be seeing you very soon in the next video. Bye!
Bye.